Good afternoon. I'm Saad Al-Aziz, the owner and head instructor of Semper Fortis Jiu Jitsu here in San Antonio, Texas, and here to tackle this week's question of the week. So, the question of the week this week was how to improve your guard, especially as a white belt or a blue belt, how to go about improving it. And, the person wanted to know, like, should I try a bunch of different types of guards, or should I focus on a specific type guard? And it was a great question, and it's a challenge we all have in jiu-jitsu, because we're all trying to find ways to improve our guard. And the guard is really what differentiates Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu from most other grappling martial arts. It's like we do the guard and we focus on it. And every guard is basically going to fall into one of three categories. It's either going to be a variation of a closed guard, it's going to be a variation of an open guard, or it's going to be a variation of a half guard. And then, people will name a particular guard and they'll tinker with it and there'll be some uniqueness about it. But they're going to fall into one of those three categories. And when you go about trying to improve your guard, some of the keys is there's a lot of different ways people play guard. And the guard you should really focus on is the guard that your instructors at your school have an answer to, like, or that they play that guard. Like we have 8 Brazilian Jiu Jitsu black belts that train here at Semper Fortis regularly. And, they do various different guards. Some of them do open, de la Hiva, deep half guard. Some of them are very focused on closed guard. A lot of you know I'm very focused on half guard. So there's areas that they are strong in, that they prefer these particular guards. And if you really want to focus on a particular guard and say specialize in it, I would seek a guard that your instructors do. For instance, if you tried, maybe you bought some videos, because that's the new thing. You get videos off YouTube or Flow Grappling or Bernardo Faria. He's got a unique site that he does instructional videos, and highly recommend all of them. Especially if you learn well off videos. But I wouldn't try to learn a guard that nobody at my school could help me refine. So, like, if you're just trying to learn it off a video, let's say the rubber guard. There's nobody here at Semper Fortis that really uses the rubber guard. So, don't get me wrong, the rubber guard is very effective. Eddie Bravo specialized in it, and his 10th Planet team does an incredible job of doing the rubber guard. But you're not going to be able to fine tune it with direct help from your instructors. So you'd sort of be limited to just the instructional video. Or like I was watching something on, I saw some ad come up on YouTube, and it was the Coyote guard. And I have no idea what the Coyote guard is. I'm sure it's effective. Like somebody made a video of it, and I'm sure it works. Just if you're watching that video, and you come in here and you're like, hey, Saad, I'm having problems with the Coyote guard. I'd be like, well, I'd have to watch the video to figure out what that guard is. I don't know what it is offhand, but I'm sure it's going to be some variation of either closed guard, half guard, or an open guard. It's going to fall into one of those categories, but I don't know offhand which category it is. So that would be one idea of how to improve your guard, is focus on guards that you have an instructor at your school, whether you're at Semper Fortis or another school, that can really help you with that guard. Because if you're trying to focus on a guard just from something that you learned in videos, and there's nobody at your school that really does that to help you on the direct question and answer, like, hey, how do I fine tune this? Then that's going to be a very difficult guard for you to learn, or any technique in general in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. But I would pick one and get good at it. Like, yeah, you want to learn everything that they're showing in class. So have an open mind, as you go through your classes, you're going to get open guard techniques, you're going to get closed guard techniques, half guard techniques. But the things that I drilled at home or focused on in my roles to get my guard better would be a particular guard. And maybe my goal in a 5-minute roll, instead of getting the tap, would be maintaining this guard and getting sweeps or, from this guard. And just sweep them, and then I'd immediately just roll and let them get back into the guard, and just keep working that guard. And then every roll, if I'm trying to get good at maintaining the guard and making attacks off the guard, that would be my focus of every roll. Not getting a tap, just getting to that guard and executing attacks that I'm trying to learn from that guard. And that's how you'll get better at it. So you don't need to know, 50 different guards, you learn a little bit about all of them, but, try to focus on one, because the reason a particular guard isn't working for you is not because the guard is bad. It's because you're not very proficient at the guard. Like I have a black belt in here. Really the only closed guard he really does is he does the closed guard. And it is incredibly difficult to get past his closed guard. And the closed guard is what Elio Gracie did. It's what Carlos Gracie did. It's like since 1925, the Gracies have been doing the closed guard. And, it's a very fundamental guard. It's basic to Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. But there's people that are so freaking good at it. Like, good luck getting out of it. Like, I actually dread getting in somebody's closed guard, especially purple belt or above. I know it's going to be a problem because they have a tendency to be really good. And when I'm in tournaments, definitely don't like being in a black belt's closed guard, because I know, man, they're going to be good at it and they're going to launch a series of attacks, and it's going to be a problem for me. But, sometimes in our journeys, we're not proficient at a guard. Let's say closed guard, for instance. And it's like, oh, everybody at the school passes my closed guard, so it must not be a good guard. Let me learn, some other guard dog guard, or, whatever people want to come up with a name. Let me learn something else because my closed guard is terrible. And maybe learning something else is the answer, but maybe the better answer is get proficient at the closed guard, or get proficient at the half guard, or get proficient at the de la Hiva, and really fine tune that, and accept in roles that, okay, sometimes people are going to blow up my guard and it's not going to work. But keep drilling it until you get to the point where passing your guard is a problem for everybody. And like I was talking to the person that asked the question, it was like, let's say it's a new guard, let's say the coyote guard. And I wanted to get good at the coyote guard. I would start doing the coyote guard to every white belt that I rolled with. If they pass, I don't care. I'll reset, try to figure out what I did wrong, and then go back to it and get back to this guard. Or maybe the rubber guard, be like, I just want to really get good at this. And just keep focusing on that. And then eventually it's working for you against the white belts. And then you start doing it to the blue belts, and it's working for you there. And then after a while, you can start doing it to the purple belts, and the purple belts can't get past your guard. And then the brown belts, and then ultimately the black belts. And that's how you get good at a guard. So it's not, you need to learn 10, 15 different guards. You need to get really good at one. So in your journey, you're going to learn a little bit about all of them. But you need to really, the things that you drill at home, the things that you drill with your training partners, when you're in here rolling, if you want to get good at a guard, man, focus on that. And then, let's say, Professor Peter is really good at the De La Hiva and spider guards. Ask Professor Peter, hey, could you watch me in this role and give me any tips as I try to do, the De La Hiva guard or the spider guard? any pointers on what I'm doing wrong. And that would benefit you. And, and most of our professors, if they're not actually rolling or they don't have something else to do, they'll check you out, give you a few pointers, and then you build off that. And then remember, every Saturday, the class is question and answer. So you can ask whatever question you want here at Semper Fortis, and our class is based off the questions, and I'm going to show you the answer as well as the other black belts, and sometimes the answer comes from the brown belts or the purple belts. And that's what we drill on the class. So bring your questions, your fine-tuning on Saturday, and be like, hey, I'm having a problem with this. What can I do? So I said all that to say, the problem isn't with a particular guard if you're not good at a guard. Your problem is you're not proficient at that particular guard. So the more you drill it, the more you train it, the more you fine-tune it and add different elements to it, the better you'll be at that guard. Whether it's the closed guard, the spider guard, De La Hiva guard, upside down guard, half guard, there's rubber guard, there's names for all these different guards, coyote guard, and you just keep fine-tuning, keep drilling it, and you'll get better and better. And then, you can always watch videos to enhance your learning of that, because now videos are everywhere. 20 years ago, videos, instructionals were almost forbidden. Nobody was doing them, and it was these are our secrets. Now everybody's making instructionals. And so, you can watch as if there's a competitor out there, you're like, man, he's really good at this particular guard and I want to learn it. You could probably go onto one of these sites, and chances are that dude has made an instructional, or maybe his teacher has made an instructional, or somebody on his team has made an instructional, and you could just sort of learn, what they're doing and get some tips, and that can help you too. All right, so that's it for this week's question. How do you get better at guard? Drill it, work on it more, develop your proficiency, and try to focus on one, because if you try to focus on 50 different guards, you'll be mediocre at all 50, But if you focus on one, and then, learn bits and pieces as you go through the instruction in class, you can get really, really good at one, and it'll be a problem for people. All right, that's it for this week's question. Any comments, suggestions below, feel free to make your comments and write anything you want for next week's question. Ciao.